You know, as I was contemplating what I was going to discuss next, are we going to discuss Canelo, Danny Jacobs, which is a big fight coming up Cinco de Mayo? Are we going to do the De La Hoya Fernando Vargas retrospective? Or are we going to talk about Lomachenko? Well, all of that fell by the wayside because, unless you've been sleeping under a rock for the last 2-3 weeks, Game of Thrones final season episode 1 premiered on Sunday, and it was kind of a big deal. Hold on now, let me sip on this peach Perrier. Y'all up on Perrier? I've been sleeping on Perrier all these years. All right. So for starters, the reason that we're going to discuss Game of Thrones is Game of Thrones is such a phenomenon. If you're not up on Game of Thrones, I suggest you get somebody's password to their cable or watch it on your own HBO. I think it's even on Amazon, actually, because HBO did a deal with Amazon to broadcast some of their content, but do whatever you have to do. Game of Thrones done brought more people together than Obama's first campaign. I've never seen so many people from different walks of life. I think even Republicans watch Game of Thrones, and nothing against Republicans, but it's a little saucier content than they typically lay claim to enjoying. Be that as it may, Game of Thrones shattered the ratings record. Episode 1 was the most watched scripted entertainment program of the year. Previous record was the February 7th episode of Big Bang Theory. But it's also the biggest telecast in HBO history, which is saying something considering Sex and the City, Sopranos. I mean, those are juggernauts. Game of Thrones smashed it. Game of Thrones is a corollary for boxing. It's a tug of war between a whole lot of people for the top spot, the throne, whose hand gonna be raised at the end. Whole lot of thinking going on in Game of Thrones, Whole lot of perseverance, of overcoming obstacles. So let's just get right into it. Opening scene, Daenerys and Jon Snow are rolling into Winterfell, and everybody ain't happy about it. In the procession, we see Tyrion, Varys, Mormont, the Hound, Missandei, Grey Worm, the Unsullied, and the Dothraki. So they posseed up. But as they marched into town, those Winterfell citizens are looking at Daenerys and Jon like they stole something. They got beef. They like, Jon, why did you bend the knee? We don't bend the knee up here in Winterfell, And who is this up in here with this blonde yaki number 78? Jon Snow is like, look, we had to do what we had to do. They up there in the Lord's meeting, and the little Mormont, I think she's a Mormont, the little 12-year-old that talks real slick, she like, Jon, we didn't elect you to be the king for you to go supplicate yourself to some usurper. And Jon was like, look, we can keep on arguing about this bullshit and die, or conversely, we can come up with an action plan. Tyrion, who's never at a loss for words, hops up and says his piece. But those Northerners, man, they got that long elephant memory. They haven't forgotten that it was the Lannisters, Joffrey in particular, that chopped off Ned Stark's head. So it's majorly tense up in that piece. So we head on over to King's Landing. Your boy Euron Greyjoy is working Cersei, or at least he thinks he is. But see, in the words of the great Etruscan poet Donald Glover, Cersei stay woke. You understand what I'm saying? She knows she needs Euron's fleet, and she knows she needs to hide the fact that she's pregnant with another baby by Jaime. So she gives him a little taste so that she has a convenient excuse for who her baby daddy is, which makes the second time Cersei has put her kids off on another man. So note to all the fellas in Winterfell, King's Landing and beyond, the Iron Islands, if you mess around with Cersei and she come up pregnant, holla at your boy Maury. Get that paternity test, cuz. Because Euron, you are not the father. Huh. So then, we see the boy Jaime riding north. It had to be, I don't know what's going through Jaime's mind as he taking that long-ass ride up to Winterfell. It's cold and everything. My boy Bran is posted up back at Winterfell like Mother Sister from Do the Right Thing. Mother Sister always watches. As per usual, he's posted up in the middle of the courtyard. It must be like real comfortable out there in that courtyard because Bran stay out there. But Samwell Tarly rolls up and he like, Bran, wouldn't you be a little more comfortable in the movie room? We got that new Lord of the Rings and everything. Bran like, nah, dude, waiting on an old friend. Oh, by the way, I need to borrow your car. No, he didn't say that, but he did say, by the way, I need you to go and tell Jon he's a Targaryen. Samwell was like, but Bran, you're his brother. Why don't you tell him? Bran hit him with that down south. Bran was like, look, Samwell, it don't matter that the mule is blind. Just load the wagon. You understand me? Meanwhile, we roll over to Sansa, and she runs into her ex-husband, Tyrion. Sansa proceeds to tell Tyrion that he's a damn fool for believing Cersei is actually gonna join Team Save the Seven Kingdoms. She hit him with the funky dividend. She was like, yes, when I was with Steady B, I had it all. I had Valyrian steel, I was eating capons, I had a direwolf coat. I thought you was the greatest man alive. I guess I was wrong. Tyrion ass is staring off into the distance like, you know what? I done got played yet again. He know it. He know it. Meanwhile, back in King's Landing, our favorite scoundrel, Sir Bronn of the Blackwater. Listen, Bronn has got to be running a tab at every brothel in King's Landing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Bronn is posted up with not one, not two, but 3 courtesans. When Cersei's hand rolls up, he's like, yo, Bronn, the queen needs you to tool up. Send a few Lannister regards to Jaime and Tyrion. Oh, and we need you to use Joffrey's crossbow when you do it. Bronn is like, I know she's the queen and all, but, she pulled that fire festival shit on me once. Ham was like, yo, bruh, you put in this work, you about to be paid lovely. You can finally cop that condo in Dorne you've been having your eye on. Bronn, he about that Skrilla, so Bronn takes the crossbow and launches into a contemplative gaze into the distance. Dip back up to Winterfell and Arya runs into the Hound. Hound is like, yo, your little ass left me for dead. Arya is like, whatever. But the Hound begrudgingly gives her props, her respect for doing what she had to do. It's a miracle she survived, and he tells her as much. Respect. Then she runs into Gendry. Now is it just me? Or was there a little energy between Gendry and Arya? I mean, Arya was looking at Gendry like she was Nina Mosley reading a poem up in the sanctuary. She was on that I am dancing a bright beam of light shit. Stay tuned on that one. Back in King's Landing, Samwell Tarly finds out that Daenerys fried his daddy and his brother like a lobster tail at Tony's in Baton Rouge. Y'all know what I'm talking about if you from Louisiana. Fried lobster tail. Samuel is butthurt, and rightfully so, and runs and reports this to John. And he's like, John, she's going to be a horrible queen. How can you follow somebody as merciless as her? John is like, yo, she's the queen, player. She's the queen. It is what it is. So Samuel was like, but you're the king. You're the king. You're actually Aegon Targaryen. Your mother was Lyanna and Rhaegar. And John is looking back at Sam like, Sam, don't I got enough shit to deal with right now? Like, you just gonna drop on me that I'm the king of the seven kingdoms, right? That's what you gonna do? And then John, I believe as a defense mechanism, gets angry at Ned. And maybe rightfully so. I've never been lied to like that about my lineage. However, John, I proffer this to you. I want to know, have you ever read Antoine Fisher? I mean, because, dude, ain't nothing nice in those orphanages. And I know those orphanages in King's Landing were not the lick. I mean, you grew up hunting for wild boars and eating quail and whatnot. Bruh, I'm gonna need for you to keep this thing in perspective, cuz. But also, there's this reality. It's got to be very, very hard to process the fact that you've been slipping the dragon to your auntie, fine or not. And she is fine. And your boy Theon Greyjoy finally grew some balls, rim shot, and went and rescued Yara. Predictably, because y'all know Yara is Bout That Smoke, she gave Theon a nice two-piece with a biscuit with some honey and potato wedges. But secretly, she was so happy to get the hell up out of that boat that they quickly made up and began to make plans for some get-back. In closing, we see the boy Jamie roll up with his black cloak on like Gamma Phi Gamma at the homecoming step show. He gets off his horse, tired as hell, turns around, and there you go, your boy Bran, as usual, just posted up looking at him. Your boy Bran like, Jamie, we need to talk. Your boy Jamie looks shook, I ain't gonna lie. But why does he look that way though? I think it's because really deep down Jamie's a good dude and is very likely remorseful and happy that Bran is alive. But you never know in Westeros. So I want to ask y'all out there, who's going to be the last man or woman standing? I know who I think is going to be the one on the throne, but I'm going to keep that to myself. Like the mayor says, those that tell don't know, and those that know don't tell. Who y'all got? Let me know in the comment section. Also, big shout out to my boy, first name Russell, last name Wilson, for getting pizzade to the tune of 4 years, $140 million, cash dollars, with a $65 million signing bonus. What y'all think Sierra did when he came home and told her she's straight for the next 3 generations? Be on the lookout for my epic Lomachenko breakdown. It's your boy T-Baby. We out.